You did not click on this by accident. You felt pulled here. There has been a tension in your spirit, a shift you cannot explain, a subtle discomfort in places that once felt normal. You walk into rooms and something feels off. Conversations sound the same, but they hit differently. You feel watched, not by people, by something deeper. Listen carefully. You are not paranoid. You are perceptive. You are not unstable. You are awakening. You were never ordinary. You were positioned, marked, set apart long before you understood the assignment. And when heaven prepares to move a chosen one, it does not send a memo. It sends signs. It sends guardians. There are 9 animal guardians God sends to relocate your soul, 9 divine movements in nature, 9 confirmations that the ground beneath you is shifting because your destiny is expanding. This is not about superstition. This is about spiritual intelligence. This is about warfare in realms most people pretend do not exist. Not everyone will understand this. Only the chosen recognize the pattern. If you have been feeling restless, if you have sensed danger without evidence, if your peace has been disturbed in familiar spaces, stay with me. You are not losing your mind. You are being moved. And before we go deeper, align yourself. Subscribe. Stand in agreement. Signal that you are ready to see what others ignore. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. First, the raven, the messenger that appears when your environment is no longer safe. You have felt it, haven't you? That quiet alertness, that internal alarm that activates for no visible reason. You smile, you function, but something inside you stays on guard. And then the raven appears, maybe literally, maybe symbolically, but its presence feels deliberate. Ravens do not move randomly. They observe, they calculate, they gather intelligence. And when one begins circling your space, understand this: heaven is gathering information on your behalf. You thought you were overthinking. You were discerning. You sensed betrayal before it surfaced. You felt distance before the argument happened. You noticed energy shifts before words were spoken. That was not anxiety. That was divine surveillance. The enemy studies you, but God studies the enemy. And when relocation has already been approved in heaven, the raven comes first. Why? Because you cannot mourn what you see clearly. The raven exposes what your heart tried to excuse. It shows you the cracks in the foundation. It reveals the subtle hostility hidden under smiles. You are not meant to stay where you are merely tolerated. You are meant to thrive where you are honored. Darkness grows uncomfortable when chosen ones mature. Environments begin to reject what they cannot control. And instead of breaking you, heaven prepares to move you. Do you see it now? The discomfort was not punishment. It was protection. The watchfulness was not fear. It was preparation. You were never meant to decay in small spaces. The raven appears when your soul has outgrown its cage. And here is the escalation. Once the raven circles, time shortens. Revelation accelerates. Masks fall faster. Truth surfaces abruptly. You may feel isolated. Good. Isolation is often the hallway between exposure and elevation. Stand firm. You are not being abandoned. You are being extracted. And if the raven has shown itself in your life, then understand this movement is near. Second, the deer, the gentle guide that pulls you toward higher ground. You felt the shift from chaos to quiet. Places that once energized you now exhaust you. Voices that once entertained you now irritate your spirit. Noise feels heavier. Drama feels louder. Crowds feel suffocating. And you started wondering, why am I becoming so sensitive? Listen to me. You are not becoming fragile. You are becoming refined. The deer does not thrive in noise. It moves in stillness. It listens before it steps. It survives because it senses what others ignore. And that is you. Your sensitivity is not weakness. It is spiritual radar. You pick up on tension before it erupts. You feel motives beneath compliments. You sense predators hidden behind partnership. Have you noticed that people smiling at you, yet something in your chest tightens? Opportunities presenting themselves, yet your spirit hesitates. Connections forming, yet your peace withdrawing. That is not fear. That is guidance. The deer appears when your soul is outgrowing loud environments. The world celebrates aggression. The chosen cultivate discernment. The world calls you too much. Heaven calls you precise. You were mocked for being soft. You were told to toughen up. But what they called softness was sacred perception. Darkness hunts through noise. Light navigates through awareness. And here is the revelation. God relocates the chosen quietly, not with explosions, not with announcements, but with inner nudges, subtle redirections, a growing discomfort with what once felt normal. You are being led away from predators disguised as partners. Yes, some smiles were traps. Some alliances were assignments of the enemy. Some environments were designed to drain you slowly. But before exposure becomes public, heaven begins internal extraction. You start craving solitude. You start declining invitations. You start pulling back without fully knowing why. And people call you distant. Let them. They cannot hear what you hear. The deer climbs higher ground before the storm hits the valley. Do you understand what that means? Your withdrawal is protection. Your quiet is strategy. Your separation is positioning. You are not losing connection. You are gaining altitude. And altitude changes everything. At higher ground, you see clearly. At higher ground, predators are visible. At higher ground, air is thinner, but vision is sharper. It may feel lonely. Good. Isolation before elevation is a pattern in your life. You were separated in school, separated in family, separated in relationships, not rejected, refined. Your calling has always required distance from noise. So do not apologize for needing peace. Do not shrink your awareness to keep others comfortable. Do not return to valleys just because they feel familiar. The deer is leading you upward, quietly, strategically, decisively. And once you reach that higher ground, you will realize something. You were never meant to survive in chaos. You were meant to reign above it. Third, the wolf, the guardian that awakens your instinct to separate. You have felt it. That pull away from the herd. That discomfort when you try to blend in. That inner resistance when you force yourself to stay connected to what no longer aligns. You tried to stay. You tried to adjust your tone, shrink your vision, soften your convictions. But something inside you would not let you. Why? Because you were never designed to graze. You were designed to roam. The wolf appears when you must leave the herd, and leaving the herd feels terrifying. It feels like exposure. It feels like vulnerability. It feels like being misunderstood. But hear this clearly. Isolation is not abandonment. It is initiation. The world says, stay together for safety. Heaven says, separate for strength. You thought you were being excluded. You were being extracted. You thought you were losing community. You were losing limitation. There is a difference. The herd survives by agreement. The wolf survives by instinct. And your instinct has been getting louder. Have you noticed you sense danger before others react? You question decisions others accept blindly. You feel restless when everyone else feels comfortable. That is not rebellion. That is refinement. You are being trained to trust instinct over approval. Approval is addictive. Instinct is divine. The herd will always pressure you to conform. Darkness thrives in collective blindness. But the chosen cannot afford blindness. You carry assignment. You carry anointing. You carry weight. And weight requires solitude. The wolf walks alone, not because it is weak, but because it knows who it is. And that knowing changes everything. When you began separating, people called you distant. They called you proud. They said you were acting different. You were, because your awareness expanded. Your tolerance for shallow conversation decreased. Your appetite for drama died. Your patience for mediocrity evaporated. That was not arrogance. That was activation. Chosen ones are relocated through solitude before they are revealed through authority. Let that sink in. Before public elevation comes private isolation. Before visible favor comes invisible training. Before leadership comes loneliness. You are in training. The nights alone, the battles you fight internally, the silent growth no one applauds. This is initiation. Wolves do not need validation. They need clarity. And clarity is being carved into you. Every time you walk away from what diminishes you, every time you choose peace over popularity, every time you trust your instinct even when it costs you, you grow sharper, more precise, more dangerous to darkness, because darkness fears those who do not need the crowd. Stand firm in your separation. Do not chase the herd. Do not beg for belonging. You were never meant to be common. You were meant to be commanding. And when the time comes when authority rests visibly on you, they will call it sudden. But you will know it was forged in solitude. Fourth, the eagle, the guardian that appears when your vision is about to outgrow your circle. You have felt the stretch in your mind. Conversations feel smaller. Dreams feel larger. The horizon feels closer than the people around you. You sit in rooms and realize you are seeing further than everyone else. Not because you are better, because you are higher, and that height is lonely. Have you noticed how your perspective shifted? What once impressed you now looks limited. What once intimidated you now looks temporary. What once held you now feels beneath you. That is not arrogance. That is altitude. Eagles do not argue with chickens. They ascend. When the eagle begins to circle your life, understand this. Your perspective no longer matches your surroundings. You are thinking generational while others think seasonal. You are seeing legacy while others chase attention. You are discerning patterns while others repeat cycles. And that difference creates tension. Because when your altitude rises, warfare increases. You thought the resistance meant you were off track. No, resistance confirms elevation. The higher you climb, the thinner the air, the fewer the companions, the clearer the view. Darkness does not attack what is grounded. It attacks what is rising. Have you wondered why criticism intensified when your confidence did, why opposition appeared when your clarity strengthened? Why misunderstandings multiplied when your purpose sharpened? Because altitude exposes you, but it also empowers you. God relocates you upward before others even know you can fly. They still see you walking. Heaven sees you preparing to soar. This is why isolation deepens here. Because eagles are not trained in flocks. They are forged in heights. You are being repositioned to see enemies before they see you. Let that settle. From ground level, threats are hidden. From above, patterns are obvious. The betrayal you almost walked into, you saw it early. The opportunity that looked perfect but felt wrong, you discerned it. The alliance that seemed powerful but carried hidden compromise, you stepped back. That is altitude vision. And altitude vision changes how you move. You stop reacting. You start anticipating. You stop defending. You start discerning. You stop explaining yourself. You start executing quietly. Listen carefully. Do not descend to make others comfortable. Do not shrink your vision to keep your circle intact. If they cannot breathe at your altitude, they were never meant to fly beside you. You were not called to fit in. You were called to oversee. That is heavier. That is riskier. That is sacred. The eagle does not flap desperately. It locks its wings and lets the wind carry it higher. Trust the wind. Trust the resistance. Trust the warfare. It is proof you are ascending. And when you finally rise above what tried to confine you, you will understand. You were never meant to survive at ground level. You were meant to dominate from the sky. Fifth, the snake, the exposure of hidden poison before departure. This is where it becomes undeniable. You saw something. You uncovered something. A truth you cannot unsee, and it disturbed you. The conversation that slipped, the lie that unraveled, the motive that revealed itself at the wrong moment. You felt the shift in your stomach. That was not coincidence. Snakes surface when deception has reached its expiration date. They do not appear to destroy you. They appear to expose what was already dangerous. And this is the pivot, because now you understand something deeper. You are not just being moved, you are being protected. Relocation often follows revelation. First comes exposure, then comes extraction. You were never meant to stay loyal to poison. But if the poison remained hidden, you would have mourned the place you had to leave. So God lets you see the venom. He lets you witness the manipulation. He lets you discern the jealousy. He lets you recognize the subtle sabotage, not to make you bitter, but to make you decisive. Have you noticed how clarity arrives suddenly? One moment you were unsure, the next moment you were certain. The blinders fell. The excuses stopped. The emotional attachment weakened. That is not coldness, that is awakening. The chosen are warned before they are moved. Others walk blindly into traps. You are shown the trap before it closes, because you carry something too valuable to be entangled. Listen carefully. The snake does not mean you are cursed. It means you are discerning. It means your spiritual eyes are open. It means your anointing is active. Darkness hides in comfort. Light exposes in timing, and timing is everything. You thought the exposure ruined everything. It saved you. You thought the betrayal broke you. It revealed you. Because once you see poison, you cannot pretend it is nourishment. This is power awareness. You are not fragile. You are guarded. You are not unlucky. You are alerted. You are not constantly surrounded by enemies. You are constantly being shown where they are. There is a difference, and that difference changes how you move. You stop clinging. You stop negotiating with compromise. You stop over-explaining your boundaries. You leave, without drama, without revenge, without apology. Because now you understand, you are too anointed to digest venom. The exposure was mercy. The revelation was protection. The discomfort was confirmation. You are not being rejected. You are being redirected. And once you accept that, something shifts inside you. Fear dissolves. Hesitation weakens. Authority rises. You realize you are not running from something. You are being led beyond it. The snake surfaced because the season ended. And when a season ends for the chosen, it does not end quietly. It ends with clarity. Stand firm in what you saw. Do not gaslight yourself. Do not minimize the warning. You were shown for a reason, and what is coming next will require that level of awareness. Sixth, the lion, the activation of territorial authority. This is where everything changes. You stop feeling like you are being moved, and you start realizing you are being sent. There is a difference. You have noticed something rising in you, a boldness that was not there before, a refusal to shrink, a strength in your voice that surprises even you. You used to endure, now you confront. You used to tolerate, now you establish boundaries. What happened? Authority awakened. Lions appear when you are about to claim new spiritual ground. Not borrowed ground, not shared ground, claimed ground. You thought relocation meant retreat. No, relocation is conquest. You are not escaping pressure. You are advancing into territory assigned to you. And that shift is why the atmosphere feels tense. Have you noticed how your presence now unsettles certain people? You walk into a room and the energy changes. You speak and resistance surfaces. You stand firm and opposition stiffens. That is not coincidence. Your roar is disturbing environments that once silenced you. Darkness tolerated you when you were quiet. It tolerated you when you doubted yourself. It tolerated you when you questioned your own authority. But now you know who you are. And that knowledge carries weight. The lion does not ask permission to exist. It declares dominion by presence alone. You are stepping into that presence, not arrogance, authority, not aggression, alignment. Listen carefully. When God sends a lion forward, it is both presence and warning. Your life becomes a signal. To some, you are protection. To others, you are disruption. And that duality is proof of your calling. Light comforts the aligned. Light exposes the corrupt. That is why warfare intensifies here, because you are no longer reacting to darkness. You are confronting it. You feel it in your spine. That steadiness, that grounded power. You no longer over-explain. You no longer over-apologize. You no longer negotiate your standards. That is territorial authority. You are claiming peace in spaces that once drained you. You are claiming clarity where confusion once lingered. You are claiming spiritual ground that was always assigned to you. And once you claim it, something shifts. Fear retreats. Doubt weakens. Opposition reveals itself openly. Good. Let it reveal itself. Because lions do not hide from challenge. They face it. You are not reckless. You are reinforced. You are not loud for attention. You are loud because silence no longer serves your destiny. Stand firm. Walk forward. Occupy the ground heaven is handing you. You are not being tolerated anymore. You are being recognized. And recognition changes warfare. Because now the enemy understands something. You are not prey. You are positioned. and what comes next will require even deeper awareness. Seventh, the owl, the watcher in the night before sudden transition. This is the stage where it feels quiet on the outside, but loud in the spirit. You lie awake at hours you cannot explain. Your thoughts sharpen in the dark. Your awareness heightens when the world sleeps. Have you noticed that the night feels different lately? Heavier, charged. That is not insomnia, that is surveillance. Owls signal hidden observation in spiritual realms. You are not just moving, you are being watched, not in fear, in significance. Because your relocation affects more than you. Your shift changes atmospheres. Your obedience disrupts patterns. Your elevation rearranges spiritual territory. You thought you were just changing seasons. Heaven knows you are shifting systems. And when systems shift, watchers gather. Darkness watches to calculate. Heaven watches to protect. That tension you feel, it is the pressure of importance. You are not insignificant. You are impactful. And impact attracts attention. The owl does not panic in darkness. It sees in it. You are being trained to see when others cannot. Have you felt wisdom increasing, clarity arriving without effort? Understanding surfacing without study? Answers forming before questions are finished? That is download. Wisdom is being placed inside you before movement is commanded. Because when the command comes, it will be sudden. And you must be ready. The night grows louder before dawn breaks. Small disturbances, subtle warnings, unusual dreams, heightened discernment. You are not imagining it. You are preparing. Most people fear the night. You are being equipped in it. Because your destiny does not require light to function, it carries its own. You are not just spiritually protected, you are spiritually positioned. The owl sits still, observes, calculates, waits, not out of weakness, out of precision. You are learning that precision. You no longer rush decisions. You no longer react emotionally. You assess, you discern, you wait. And waiting feels intense because you sense something is about to shift. You feel transition hovering. You cannot explain it, but you know it. Listen carefully. Stillness before sudden movement is not stagnation, it is alignment. The enemy cannot interrupt what he cannot predict. And right now, your next move is hidden, even from those closest to you. That secrecy is protection. You are being observed because you are marked. Marked for movement, marked for elevation, marked for impact. Do not fear the night, master it. Do not question the watchfulness, embrace it. Because when the dawn breaks, it will break quickly. And those who underestimated your quiet season will not understand your sudden shift. But you will, because you were trained in darkness. You were sharpened in silence. You were downloaded before commanded. And what comes next will not crawl, it will charge. Eighth, the horse, the acceleration you cannot control anymore. This is where it stops feeling gradual and starts feeling urgent. You wake up with a sense of movement. You feel momentum building beneath your feet. Doors begin to open faster than you expected. Have you noticed it? Conversations shift quickly. Opportunities appear suddenly. Decisions demand response without delay. It feels almost violent, not chaotic, fast. Horses appear when delay is over. You prayed for movement. Now movement is here. And it does not walk, it charges. For a long time you were restrained, held back, delayed, tested. You wondered why nothing moved, why doors stayed closed, why progress felt slow, why preparation felt endless. Because power without timing is dangerous. But now preparation is complete. And once preparation is complete, acceleration begins. God does not relocate chosen ones slowly once the season shifts. He moves them fast, because hesitation can reconnect you to old chains. So acceleration protects you. That urgency you feel, it is alignment. You sense time compressing. You feel tolerance shrinking. You feel clarity sharpening. You no longer entertain what wastes your energy. You move quickly, decisively, without overthinking. That is not impulsiveness. That is divine propulsion. The horse carries strength and speed. You are feeling both. Strength to endure what is breaking off. Speed to enter what is opening up. Darkness tries to intimidate you with intensity, but you are no longer intimidated by intensity. You are becoming intensity. Listen carefully. When acceleration begins, not everyone can keep up. Some will fall behind. Some will resist your pace. Some will question your sudden growth. Let them. You cannot slow destiny to maintain comfort. You cannot shrink speed to preserve old connections. You ask for breakthrough. Breakthrough rarely arrives gently. It arrives with force. And you are strong enough to handle force now. That is the difference. Before, acceleration would have overwhelmed you. Now it activates you. You feel unstoppable because you are aligned. You feel urgent because you are ready. You feel movement because stagnation is over. Stand steady in the momentum. Do not doubt the speed. Do not fear the pace. You are not losing control. You are releasing control. There is a difference. The horse does not question the direction once it runs. It commits, and commitment multiplies power. This is not random. This is orchestration. The delay trained you. The isolation strengthened you. The exposure sharpened you. Now acceleration carries you. And what comes next will not just move you, it will transform you permanently. Ninth, the dragonfly, the final signal that your old identity has died. This is not subtle. This is irreversible. You feel it. You cannot go back. You cannot shrink. You cannot pretend to be who you were just to make others comfortable. Something in you has crossed a line. Dragonflies appear when transformation is complete. Not beginning, complete. You survived the small rooms. You endured the narrow thinking. You tolerated the limited expectations. But now you outgrew survival. You stepped into sovereignty. You cannot return to the version of you that begged for acceptance. That version is gone, buried, finished. This relocation is not geographic, it is dimensional. You are not just changing locations, you are changing frequency, and frequency cannot be reversed. Have you noticed how certain environments feel physically impossible now? You try to sit in old spaces. It feels tight. You try to engage in old conversations. It feels unnatural. Because your presence now shifts atmospheres permanently. Darkness senses it. That is why warfare intensifies here. Not because you are vulnerable, because you are visible. When a dragonfly emerges, it never crawls again. It flies. And flight exposes you to open air, open visibility, open confrontation, but also open dominion. You are no longer hidden, you are revealed, and revelation is dangerous to systems built on illusion. You used to adapt to survive. Now environments must adjust to you. You used to bend to avoid conflict. Now your very presence confronts compromise. That is dimensional relocation. You are operating from a higher realm of awareness, a sharper clarity, a deeper authority. You are not reacting to life anymore. You are influencing it. Feel that. Let it settle. You are not the same. You will never be the same. And that is not loss. That is destiny. Everything that broke you prepared you. Every rejection redirected you. Every delay developed you. Every isolation fortified you. You were being transformed, not punished. You are chosen, not randomly, not accidentally, intentionally, divinely, strategically. You are protected, you are assigned, you are marked. And what is marked by heaven cannot be erased by hell. Stand in that, walk in that, own that. If you recognize these 9 guardians moving through your life, comment 9 below. Seal it. Declare it. Let darkness know you are aware. Subscribe if you are ready for the next level of revelation, because this is not the end. This is activation. You were never ordinary. You were never overlooked. You were being relocated, and now you are positioned, chosen, and unstoppable.